So we still have a couple more. So yeah, welcome. Who's up the latest in the room right now? Who's the furthest away? You probably know if you're in the middle of Alice. I don't see Alice here.
She's in the Philippines now.
Yeah. We got anybody from Australia?
You have me from Singapore.
Oh,
From
you're in
Singapore.
Singapore. Hi,
Hi.
Vera.
How nice.
Welcome. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
So Singapore, what time is it for you?
No, the reason I'm here is because I'm visiting my daughter in Boston.
Oh.
So I could make it now. If not, it'll be 1 a.m. for me. There's no way I'm getting out of bed.
Yeah, good for you.
Well, and Alice just signed in, so we know. Alice, what time is it?
It's 1 a.m. in the
There you
Philippines.
go.
Wow.
Anybody got that one beat?
Wow.
Okay. Great. Well, welcome again, Alice. Thank you for always inspiring us with your commitment. So today we're going to have the pleasure of hearing about some new classes. But we'll start with a flash writing exercise. And this one is, we'll take the next 5 minutes. What do you think? What do you think, Cheryl? 5 or 10 minutes?
5.
5.
We got
Okay.
a lot to cover. 5 is good.
Okay, so what I'm going to have you write about something you've kept for years, not because of its value, but because of what it represents to you. Okay, so we'll do 10. We're starting at 04, more or less. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
Hi.
Thanks, Angela. Kim, I put the flash writing exercise in the chat.
Okay. 1 sec here. I'm sorry, I'm in transit right at the moment, so I'm doing this in kind of an awkward way. I might be more listening than participating, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
always
We'll be
fun. Yeah.
finished. Yeah, we'll be finished in 3 minutes.
Okay.
Hi, Mary. Welcome. We're just finishing up a flash writing exercise. Welcome, Stephen. We're just finishing up a flash writing exercise.
Timing is everything.
Okay, everyone, our time is up. I'm really curious to see what people wrote about. Who wants to read out loud? Come on, there's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Just unmute yourself, guys.
Okay, Barbara, yay.
No, I can read it. I was scribbling away. All right. Elmo, exclamation point. I've kept Scooter Elmo, which was given to me by my niece Jenna when she was a little girl 29 years ago. She gave Scooter Elmo to me when I was in the hospital with a serious injury. Jenna at that time was young, and among her Elmo collection was her favorite, Scooter Elmo. His bright smile. Oh, I placed him on the tray table that was always next to me in the hospital. His bright, toothy smile, his vibrant red and yellow countenance transferred that smile to me. Hope, joy, laughter. When recovering in the hospital, that might be the best medicine. I still keep Elmo in my office now, close to me, close to my heart. He continues to bring a smile to me whenever I catch his glance, which is often. And my little niece now, who is 42 years old, is also my best connection to hope, joy, and laughter.
Aw, is it sitting in your office where you are now, or are you in your kitchen?
I'm in the kitchen.
Oh, oh, thank you, Barbara. That was so great.
It's big, but he's big in my heart.
Oh, wow. I was picturing bigger.
No, little thing.
Little thing. Oh, thank you. Okay, who else like to share? Okay, Alice.
As I carefully and patiently dry the photos that the flood has damaged, I'm simply trying to save, not only trying to save old pieces of paper. These images hold fragments of my life and that of my children, birthdays, graduation, simple family days, travels, and milestones that tell our story. Each photograph is a doorway back to a season of joy, hope, and love, reminding us of how far we've come as a family. Though some of the photos may never look the same again, preserving them is my way of honoring the memories that they carry. They are evidence of who we were in different times and places, moments that help us, and seasons that cannot be relived but only remembered. Drying them feels like an act of resilience, a way of saying that while storms may come, our memories and our love for each other will remain.
Oh, beautiful, Alice.
Beautiful. It might be appropriate to mention that Alice and her family in the Philippines have just gone through a flood, or I think you told me you had a foot of water all through your house, Alice, that you have
Yes.
lost many things. Yeah.
Didn't you
Ah,
have one
yeah.
last year too, Alice?
Yeah, we had them last year. Yeah, July of last year, and it's quite interesting. You probably read in the papers that some of the money supposed to be used for flood control have been corrupted by some
Oh,
government officials.
wow.
So,
That's hard. It's,
well,
well, thank you for
yeah.
sharing with
Yeah.
us.
So my place is still filled with with photographs being dried,
Dried out.
air
Wow.
dried.
It's a beautiful story out of a
Yeah,
tragic event.
yeah. Is there one other person that would like to share today? Oh,
I think, Lori, did you have your hand up earlier? You're muted right now, Lori. You're muted. I see you trying to tell me
There we go.
something, but there you go.
Sorry. I forgot where my mute button was on my iPad. Okay.
Ah,
So if you guys want me to, I'm happy to share.
yeah, please share, Lori. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm actually going to hold this up. Oop, I almost knocked my coffee over. Can't knock my coffee over. Okay, so I had to pick up a pile. This is something that's sitting on my desk, and I want you to see the front and the back. You can hardly read the back, but you can still see the front, kind of.
Read it to us.
I will. I just wanted to
Okay.
show you real quick because I
Okay,
referenced
okay.
that.
Got it.
Okay. By my writing desk lies an old crackled mug. It states my full first name, not known by many. Also, it reveals my birth year, all in bright gold letters, still readily readable today. I think I've held on to it because it is one of the few relics stating me, just me. Being a twin, most references, photos, and memorabilia that I have, every article always states one of two. Sometimes it's nice to be only you. On the back is a prayer. I can hardly read it today. However, many memories surround it hold on, this is where surrounded by my being led in a bedtime prayer or over a hot chocolate with my siblings, or anything that was delivered was pure love from memories of this mug.
Wow,
Wow.
that's great.
Here it is.
That's beautiful. Not being a twin, I never would have thought of that,
Yeah,
but
I
of course
know.
you always are one of
I'm-
two.
I'm not usually selfish, but sometimes it is nice to just be a single.
I know.
Yeah.
How
I
wonderful.
bet.
Thanks.
How wonderful. Who gave you the mug? Do you know?
It was from my grandmother, and she gave one to my sister, my brother, and myself.
Okay, that's
So we
great.
all three, but I'm the only one that has a shortened full name. So
Ah,
in today's society where we have to be so careful of identity theft, that's why it stays here at my private area.
oh, that's great. Great
Thanks.
story.
Interesting. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So we're gonna start with life portfolio, life reimagined with Cheryl, Sherry, and Lee.
Thank you. Well, I'm just going to give a little bit of the background because the Beeren Center, Jim Beeren, we have 3 new courses. Well, 2 new courses, and then we have Janet Ferguson, who's going to talk about a course that she's put together called Tasting the Past. We are doing our best to bring new courses to all of you to use in your toolkit as you go out to different audiences. And so actually, Life Portfolio and Family History were 2 created syllabus with Jim Beeren more than 25 years ago that we did copyright. So we've we've dug up those old syllabi and redone them. We've changed them. The family history is now called Shaking the Family Tree, and we have Sarah White and Heidi Thorson, along with Deb Winter, working on that course. And we have Life Portfolio, which we have kept that name because that was the name Dr. Biren chose. And at that time, this is 25 years ago, he was thinking of pre-retirees because there were a lot of people getting ready to retire. And what do you retire to? And he was always the one who said, you know, you always have to have a reason to get up in the morning. And what's your reason? If you don't have a job to go to, what are you going to do? So Life Portfolio, they were thinking of it in terms of a financial portfolio. So all of the analogies and metaphors used in it were all financial. We've taken part of that out and changed it to a life portfolio that is applicable to any life transitions. And we all have them. You know, you may be going through a divorce, you know, your kids leaving home, so you become an empty nester. You're downsizing. There may be a death. There may be retirement. We go through many different transitions in all of our life. So what we've tried to do is take the life portfolio syllabus that was created by Jim Biren and readapt it to a broader audience than just pre-retirees. And Dr. Biren actually offered that class twice, once at UCLA and once at Cal State Fullerton that I had the privilege of setting in on. And I can assure you that I'm not an investor, so a lot of it went over my head, but it was definitely a financial metaphor. So telling you that, I want you to know that Sherry Coleman and Lee Morrow and I have gone through and reworked the syllabus. We have created 8 sessions, just like the GAB training is now 8 sessions. We did a beta test from May 2nd to June, from May 5th until June 2nd, and we had 6 participants who beta tested with us. We had Lisa Culhane, Michael Williams, Steve Hoover, Angela Lipsey, Sherry Coleman, and Patty Silvernail. Now, you might wonder, how did Sherry get to be a beta tester when she was one who created the syllabus? But it was actually beneficial because then she got to see what worked and what didn't work, having the background of having written the syllabus herself. So we had her in there as a plant. And she's the only one that gave us negative feedback. Everybody else was give us pretty good evaluations. So part of the beta testing was getting the feedback from everybody. So now we are ready to take the course, add the really great feedback and make the changes that are necessary and go forward with it. So Lee has put together a presentation, I think, Lee, that describes it, maybe the 8 sessions or something. So
Yes,
I'm
yes.
going to turn it over to you.
Excellent. May I share my screen, Heather? Can you turn on the share screen for me? Are we good? Okay. Okay, just give me one sec. Yes, we will. It says it needs 1 more minute to allow me to share my screen.
And we're hoping to be ready to run this in October, sometime in October. We're still looking at dates. We're still looking at pricing, et cetera, but it will be a ready to go workshop for you to learn from and to have the materials to go out and teach your own classes using it.
Okay, and I'll just move us over and put it on present. And can everyone see that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay, well, thank you very much. This is just a quick little presentation to give you an overview of the course that Sherry, and I worked on for quite some time. As Cheryl mentioned, most of us know what a financial portfolio is. This is where we track our investments, make sure our money is aligned with our goals. But often we don't look at what a life portfolio would be, right? The life portfolio part of our life, the investments we've made in our time, our energy, our relationships, our attention even.
And Dr. Biren was very big on the idea that we tend to measure success by external markers, perhaps our careers, our accomplishments, our financial wealth. Yet what really matters when we pause and reflect on our life are the assets that bring the deepest fulfillment, those intangible things like our friendships, our family, our skill sets that we develop over our decades on planet Earth, our friendships, our creativity, and even our contributions to others. So we decided that the course, Life Portfolio, Life Reimagined, would give all GAB instructors a chance to step back and examine those life investments that we've all made. A space to ask ourselves, are my current choices bringing me closer to the life that I truly want? Over the sessions together, students examine the balance of our own life portfolios. We explore what's working well, what perhaps no longer serves us, and where we might want to rebalance. Of course, we do this through reflective writing, our group sharing, and then a number of practical exercises to help connect our past experiences, our present commitments, and our future aspirations. And hopefully at the end, the participants walk away with greater clarity about how they want to spend their time, their energy, and with a personalized plan to guide them forward. So let's just quickly go through the nuts and bolts. The course can be tailored to fit a 6 or 8 week window. Session 1 begins, as all good things do, at the beginning and examines what are the components of my life portfolio. We recognize the role of transitions in shaping life investments. We review how time, energy, and assets have been spent thus far. And of course, we re-look at the personal value of writing as a tool for reflection. In week 2, we examine the core values and your tolerance for risk. Here's someone that's quite risky in this picture. We ask, why are values important? Our values really are critical in guiding us through life, in making decisions, in influencing our behavior or shaping our way of life. They really form a worldview and they help us prioritize our goals. In short, it's what matters most to us. And once we pinpoint and understand our core values, we can better determine our purpose and find meaning in our life. In session 3, it's all about the obstacles, the regrets, and forgiveness. What is holding us back is the theme. And this session really encourages honest reflection on what can be changed, what can be accepted, and how forgiveness frees the energy for growth. I think that this is one of the trickier themes of the course, and a lot of people reflect on personal regrets or how they influence present choices. So exploring forgiveness for self or for others is a way to release energy and move your life portfolio forward. Say that 3 times.
Yeah.
Session 4 explores the nature of happiness, what creates it, what diminishes it, and how it differs from pleasure, joy, and satisfaction. We look at the insights from the Harvard Happiness Study and reflect on the role of relationships, the habits and self-care we need in cultivating long-term well-being. And we ask, am I investing in the life I truly want? In session 5, participants examine the 4 key building blocks of their life portfolio. That's time, talent, treasures, and passions, to better understand how these resources shape their lives. And by reflecting honestly on how they use their time and money, naming their natural gifts, and clarifying what they're really passionate about, all the participants can move a little closer to designing a balanced and meaningful life. We also look at cleaning space for purpose and growth in session 6, and it helps participants identify all those distractions. And we know the distractions are only mounting, be they habits, be they possessions, be they commitments. that drain our time, our energy, and our resources. And by letting go of what no longer serves us, we can reallocate that energy into areas that align with the values and create a more meaningful life portfolio. So at the end of our time together, course participants will have examined their life portfolio and integrated all the revelations that came in our weeks together, the goals and desires that we have identified. And this final session takes a deep dive into finding out how our purpose can even help us strengthen our life portfolio. We also review how our life portfolio has changed over even the weeks together and how we maintain this new balanced and thriving asset in our life. So just a quick reframe for you. At the end of the 6 or 8 weeks together, your students will have greater clarity on where their time, energy, and attention are going. They'll have insight into whether current investments reflect their deepest value. And they will have a personalized plan for shifting focus towards growth, purpose, and fulfillment. What the course offers is a structured framework for reviewing how we've spent our time and energy. We look at what's working and what no longer fits, opportunities to realign with our values and aspirations, and support creating a very personalized plan for the future. So why is life portfolio important? Well, as Cheryl gave us in the introduction, the beauty of this course is that it is relevant for every single student who has ever taken guided autobiography. People at any stage or transition point, be that retirement, career change, caregiving, or simply wanting more balance and meaning. It's especially helpful for any of you who are asking, where do I want to put my energy next? The teaching approach is straightforward. We have core ideas in hour 1. We do some flash writing exercises, which we all love to do to try and personalize the learning. Following the Biren formula, the second half of the session is sharing our narratives, 800 to 1,000 words, just as we do in GAB. And each week we have creative exercises to apply concepts directly to those life choices that students are now examining. So the 6 weeks is tailored both for those wishing to use the course for personal exploration and self-discovery, and for any of you GAB instructors who wish to start teaching this course to their students. The training will provide both separate handouts for students and handouts for trainers, and a certification of completion for GAB instructors. We did the beta test, as Cheryl said, and participants shared their experiences. I think they loved it. Here's what some of them said. You can read these. I like the structure. The facilitation was fabulous. Well, of course, Cheryl was there, so that's why that happened. Subject matter is meaningful. It requires more thought and reflection than GAB 1, which is really positive for those who want to take their writing to the next level. Another one of our participants said, as a coach, I guess it's missing the do. I do personal development work with clients and hold myself to the same standard of reflection and change. And it's a very good experience to do this work as part of a group. And then this participant said, as a newbie, it was a privilege to be among such gifted storytellers and seasoned facilitators. I felt out of place at the beginning, but as time went on, I felt welcomed. Well, that's like a lot of people that start GAB, right? It was enjoyable to gather with like-minded people, and thank you for the opportunity. And the last one to share with you today is grateful for being included in this beta testing of the course. I look forward to the finished version and using it in my work. So you can become a Biren certified instructor in Life Portfolio. You can add it to your toolkit as a GAB instructor. A valuable new course for your students. You spend so much time and energy getting students. Here's a beautiful way for you to continue providing a service for those people, and in the process, examine your own life portfolio. So classes will hopefully start in mid-October, and a portion of your tuition will provide valuable funding for the Biren Center. Please contact Cheryl or Sherry or myself for any more information, or if you're really keen to reserve a spot when the first class starts. And I thank you for your time today, and I apologize I have to run, but I am in a training session for GAB instructors, and Lily's holding down the fort. So I'll let you go and leave it all with Cheryl. It was a pleasure being here. I'm going to stop my screen share. There we go. And thank you so much for your time. You were fabulous.
Thank you, Lee. That was great. That was
Thank
great.
you, Lee.
You did it all. I might correct her on one point. It's an 8-week course.
8 week.
You can't adapt it. We did a 5-week session when we did the beta testing simply because we didn't have time. But this is going to be an 8-week course. So
Which is the training is an 8-week course.
The training is an 8-week course, yes.
And who's teaching it?
It'll be Lee and Sherry and I, the
Okay.
three of us.
That's what I figured.
Sherry, do you have anything you want to add to this?
I think Lee covered it well. I think it's a very valuable tool. And then I was just reading that, in our lifetime, we go through transitions about every 18 months, which is go through some kind of a transition. We go through, they say, like maybe 3 or 4 major life-changing transitions in our lifetime. But we have some transitions all the time. We're always trying to adjust and figure out the new normal. So I think it's going to be a very valuable course. So.
I do too. And Bruce Feiler, his latest book is on transitions. I bought the book and started reading it, Sherry, but I forgot. It's something called Transitions in Life. Do you remember the name of it?
I don't have it right here.
Anyway.
I'm also
life is in the transitions.
Yes, life is in the transitions. Thank you, Angela.
I'm reading Melinda Gates' book too, called The Next Day, which is all about transitions, which is kind of too. So if anybody's interested.
Any other questions? Because this is an old course that's been resurrected and changed.
That's
keeping
great.
Jim Barron's thumbprint on it.
So no confirmed dates yet for us to?
No, but we're looking at Fridays in October. So we still need to go through and based on the lovely evaluations that we got, we need to go through and make the changes to the syllabus. So we are definitely ready to go for everybody.
Great. Okay. So you're good on that one, Cheryl?
Yep. Unless anybody has questions or just get back to us with them.
Any questions? Okay, so Heidi and Sarah and Deb?
We're ready.
You're ready. Yay.
We are.
You were born ready, right, Heidi?
I don't know about that. Are you ready for us to go?
We are.
Great. Okay. I just want to start off, sharing that the curriculum that we developed on Shaking Your Family Tree has a foundational base in the work of Diana Taylor and Robin Mincer Davis. And, just great shout out to them for providing, just a structure and the thought seeds for us to branch off and develop this curriculum. So, their work is much appreciated, and we want to give credit to that. So, Shaking the Family Tree, I just have to make one comment. I noticed that with the flash writing we did today, I thought, wow, a lot of these stories, and indeed even the theme, has connections to material that we have in Shaking the Family Tree. So I look forward to sharing more about the nuts and bolts of this class with you. And with that short introduction, Sarah, I'm going to pass it to you to talk about.
Right. I'll give you a little background on it, and just want to add a shout out to Lily Bangford. Worked on this in the first year or so that we were, this has been in development for, I think, almost 3 years now. It was kind of a stop and start. In the beginning, Lily was a big part of the team, moved on. And more recently, Deb Winters-Labarge stepped up with to help us get going again, because Heidi and I had kind of stalled with the other responsibilities that we have with the Barron Center. And she got us moving again and excited about it. And here we are with the course ready to beta test. So that's the headline. The course description that we've written, Shaking the Family Tree. Discover the stories behind your family history. In this 5-week guided autobiography-inspired workshop, Participants explore their cultural roots, family roles, traditions, values, and the meaning behind treasured artifacts. Through themed writing, sharing, and feedback, students bring past generations to life, not through genealogical research, but through story. Created for GAB instructors, this ready-to-teach course includes a full curriculum, guiding principles, and craft tips to help your students start writing family history with confidence and creativity. And just to be clear, the course that is designed to be offered to your students is a 5-week curriculum, but the training is a 6-week curriculum because the final week is a presentation, very similar to how your original GAB instructor training ended with each student making a presentation. So it's teaching you to do a 5-week course over the course of 6 weeks, if you follow me. The target audience is certified guided autobiography instructors. For the training, our goal is to give you an offering that you can teach in addition to any other GAB programs you teach to your students. The mindset of the students who would take this course, what do I do now that I've got all this research? How do I get started writing family history? How do I turn these facts into stories others will want to read? So it's not a course about how to do genealogical research. There are others offering that. We wanted to keep it purely focused on Biren methodology and the focus around the 2 pages at a time, week by week. Our guiding principles as we developed were to stay within the GAB modality that sets us apart. We write, we share, we receive feedback. That's what any Biren course really has that's unique to the Biren modality. Not to replicate what could easily be found through other course offerings. Genealogy you can find in many places. Family history writing is a little harder to find, and particularly with this focus on sharing and feedback. The curriculum is for end user students with the add-on how to teach this for instructors. That's the guiding principles. Course requirements. Participants in the training, the how to teach this, must be members of the guided autobiography community. No one who hasn't taken instructor training is going to be I hate to sound like I'm laying down rules, but our plan is that it's limited to people who've already taken the training and are looking for new offerings for their students. Whether you require your students to have taken any other GAB classes, that's entirely up to you. You could just offer Shaking the Family Tree if that's something that, say, a genealogy center in your town has approached you about an offering. This would be a great thing to bring them as an introductory course. You don't have to be teaching GAB 1 before you teach an add-on. I think that's also true of Life Portfolio. Either one could be a first offering. Yes. We want the people who take this course, our instructors, to come away prepared to teach it and feeling comfortable teaching family history. Even you haven't personally been doing genealogical research and getting into family history writing yourself. The weekly themes or learning objectives. Every week, there's a discussion theme and a writing craft tip. And we're going to alternate because we alternated on developing the weeks here. I worked on week 1, where the theme is cultural, historical, and geographical roots. And the craft tip for that is using sensory detail to create settings. So this is really about where do your stories live? What is the time and place, the era and area in which your ancestor stories come down to you? And I should say that we're focusing on what I'd say is the 4 generations that you might have living knowledge of. So we aren't asking you to write about people who were born in the 17th century and about whom you may have a few genealogical data points, but not much to go on. We're talking about your experience, your parents' experience, your grandparents' experience, and maybe your great-grandparents' experience, but mostly focused on people that you would have some living memory of or have heard firsthand stories about. So there's more to work with. So if your people emigrated from another country, that's cultural, historical, geographical information that would be very important to creating the settings for your stories. That's what week 1 is about. Heidi?
Yes, I'll take it away with week 2. So week 2 focuses on the roles that the characters on your family tree played in the family. Now, in looking at this, we're not looking at their jobs or their education or anything like that. That comes in a later session. We're looking at, what were the family roles, the leaders, the providers, the quiet ones, the decision makers. So with that, we look at the objectives of, we want to understand your connection to the characters that you have on your family tree and your connection to their roles. We want to help you develop skills to bring those characters to life. So the skill focus that we're going to look at is, examining the characters on your family tree, but also how do you bring the characters in your story to life? We also take a look at, as an objective, how did those family roles transfer across the generations? Did you see those same roles continue on from 4 generations ago to 3 generations ago to 2 generations ago? Most of all, do you recognize those today? Do those roles that are identified in the family relate to you? So we talk about what constitutes a family. That varies from culture to culture, but family roles are very similar as we go across different cultures. You have the main role of the family generally is to provide an environment to ensure that needs of food and shelter are met, maintenance of wealth, the provision of materials that sustain life. And how that's done can vary, but generally across cultures, those roles tend to be the same. So as your students go through the activities, they should be considering, you should be looking at what are some connections from these characters to your own life? How do these characters relate to you? So after the stories are finished, you're going to have looked at probably 1 or 2 characters that you're going to develop in the story. And, think about what was the role that they played? What was their importance and how does that apply to me in my life today? So who are those characters and what importance do they play in your life today? That's the focus of session 2. Then I'll move on to session 3. Session 3 is talking about rituals, traditions, celebrations, and the values that we have. And this is looking at non-tangible items. It's looking at how you practice important things in your life. How did you celebrate birthdays? How were rituals around the dining room table? What were the guidelines for behavior? How were they laid down? And then, giving back a nod to the roles, who enforced those behaviors, that would be more in line with the roles from session 2. But that's one of the ways that we connect these sessions is one session builds on another. So the objectives for session 3, we want to explore how rituals played a role in shaping your family values and your beliefs. We want to appreciate through this session is how values and traditions create identity in people. You can identify with your family because of those rituals and traditions that your family may have had or that you recognize as being part of your current practices. We want to look at virtues and values that were important in your family. So virtues and values in your family are often exemplified in the rituals and traditions that a family practices. And we're going to kind of connect those 2 concepts. And the writing craft we're going to look at is development of plot or the narrative arc. How can you make your stories a compelling story? What's the importance of the structure of the plot line? And this will just be embedded in the theme and in the stories you write, but it will assist you in creating a stronger takeaway, a more impacting story because it follows a given plot line. Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah, you want to take it off with session 4?
Yeah. So week 4, we really inspired this one on the one of the sessions in the GAB training about the 3 concepts of self, the actual, social, and ideal. That's one of my favorite weeks to teach in the GAB course. Always leads to some interesting introspection and new realizations. And it occurred to us that, well, each of our ancestors also dealt with concepts of self. So here we go as detectives into our family tree, looking at how perhaps our direct ancestors felt alignment in their life pursuits. We look at how we work, how we earn, how we learn, and whether those we faced obstacles that caused us to be out of congruence or integrity in those 3 concepts, or whether our ancestors were able to live a pretty congruent life and keep those dots of actual, social, and ideal pretty well aligned, pretty well centered. We analyze how their choices reflect their core values and their sense of purpose. We look for clues. There's writing exercises each week, trying to include some free write time in each class. And the writing craft tip for this time is about narrative voice, voice, tone, and perspective. How we write can have a tone that's humorous, a tone that's reverent, a tone that is confessional. We create not just our voice as the family historian, but kind of the journalist or inquirer into the lives of people who've gone out before us. And Heidi, you've got week 5.
I do. And week 5 is family artifacts and heirlooms. And unlike session 3, which was rituals, those are the untangible items, week 5 focuses on the tangible items. And the flash writing prompt today made me go, that could be, that could be one of the things that's included in our session 5. So those artifacts and heirlooms that are part of your family. And, when Sarah and I discussed the content of this session, we just came up with this incredible list of, we aren't just thinking about, that special bowl or that special tool, passed down from grandma or grandpa, but it could be things like land, or, a recipe, or it could be just a whole host of things. We really aim to expand your thinking on those family artifacts and heirlooms that are important to your family. And again, if you've noticed a certain theme coming through each of these sessions, sometimes those precious artifacts and heirlooms portray a value system in the family, and how has that been carried down. So learning objectives would be understand the importance of those important tangible family items and how they create identity and a sense of belonging. Explore what is the origin of these heirlooms. Where did it come from? Grandpa had it. Where did grandpa get it from? Was it a wedding gift? Was it a rite of passage gift? Was it a law decree, or, decreed by law that this goes down to a certain, is it spiritual or a religious practice that certain things go to certain members of the family?
Yeah.
We want to also look at recalling the patterns with passing those treasures on. Is there a pattern to passing those items on in the family? And the writing craft that we're going to talk about is looking at editing and what are just some great golden nuggets of that make your writing good. What are some things that help make your writing pop and polish? So we're going to embed those thoughts also into the session 5. And with that, those would be the 5. What was that, Sarah?
Oh, I'm just laughing because I have to say the patterns of inheritance thing. The object I was writing about is a broken watch that my father gave me for my 16th birthday. He had it converted to a necklace. And when he gave it to me, he said, if it worked, I would have given it to my eldest son. This is my grandfather's watch that he gave to me. But since it doesn't work, I made it into a necklace for you. I just think that's a great story of patterns of inheritance.
It is. And Sarah, that would fit in characters. You know, it would fit in session 2. When you talk about character, it would fit in the session 3, the values, you know, or, you know, I can see how
traditions and rituals. Yeah.
Absolutely. These things, you know, can all fit into so it's a very connected curriculum.
Right. Things really flow nicely from one week to the next. One of the things that was interesting in the artifacts conversations that we had, and I think by this time Deb was in the room and part of the conversation, was the brands that families are loyal to. When you think about it, you know, if your dad bought Chevrolets, maybe your brother bought Chevrolets, you know, there's a pattern of loyalty to brands that we, in a consumer society, that's a big piece of our material culture.
Preferences in foods, yes. And so in session 5, we really want to expand, you know, your thinking to, you know, just beyond that one artifact. It really applies to a lot of different things.
I want to
these
just
are the 5
can I interrupt here a second? I'm just watching. I'm watching the time, and we still have Janet Ferguson to go, and we have Q&A, and we have the GAB anthology poll voting on the cover. So I know a little bit about what's coming up. I think if we can wrap this up, because you've already sold me on the course. I realize I've written my guided autobiography, but I have not written about my family. So I want to be one of your beta testers. And I think
that's good, because
you guys have already set a date.
We've got one seat open, maybe 2.
Give us
so
that.
Just to tell you,
go ahead, Sarah. Talk about session 6. So that's just unique to our
session 6. Each student will give a presentation, but they can choose from one of 2 options. It can either be showing a plan of how you plan to teach this class, and that's designed to support your credibility as a teacher, or you can write about your own family history research and your experience as a student in this class. So it's open so that whether you're planning to immediately use this in an instructional mode, or whether it's been more of a journey for you as writing your own family history, you have a way to present what you've gotten from the class. So it's just a live session followed by writing assignments, no other kinds of things. But requirement is about 2 hours in class each week. 1 to 2 hours writing your essay. And so we're looking for 1 or 2 more beta testers. The test is going to start on October 23rd.
Actually, 22nd.
We changed that to the 22nd, didn't we? And what time did we say?
Yes. 8 o'clock Pacific time, 10 o'clock Central, 11 Eastern.
That's a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For 6 weeks.
For 6 weeks. We ask people to commit to attending all 6 weeks, to completing all the course assignments, to keep a running just reflection journal, noting what worked or what felt awkward or what you wish had been recovered, any reactions you have to the material in the process of the class. And at the end, to complete a course evaluation along with a summary report summarized from that weekly reflections journal, and ask you to turn that in pretty promptly after the last class date. Portion of tuition benefits the Buren Center. There's 1 seat, possibly 2 open. Cheryl just spoke for one of them, so there's possibly a seat open. If you are interested, please get up with Heidi or me about that. And that's it. Any questions on our class?
The class ends the day before Thanksgiving. So we got it in there before Thanksgiving. So, you know, a little bit of ending before we head off to the holidays. But it was great fun creating this with Sarah and Deb. It was each meeting we came away like, oh, we really, you know, this is great. You know, it was the energy built.
It was energizing.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Heidi. And Barbara Smith has posted she's interested if there's room. So
okay, put you on the list.
Janet, you're up.
Just unmute yourself, Janet. You're muted.
Mute.
There you go.
Fine. Everyone can hear me.
We can hear you.
It's afternoon for me now. way in the afternoon.
And where are you?
How much time I'm in Bermuda. Cheryl, how
Bermuda.
much time do I have?
Oh, 10, 15 minutes. That's what we gave everybody
fine.
else.
I just want to have that
Yep.
in mind. Thanks. Okay, I'm going to kind of change the tone here. I have slides, but I'm not going to try to use the slides because technology has a way of doing interesting things.
I agree.
I'm going to start
get it.
maybe with a prompt.
Okay.
And I want you to just hold this prompt in your mind, maybe think of an answer. We don't work through it, don't write it, but I'm just giving you a flavor of
Okay.
tasting the past. So reflect on a specific meal or dish from your childhood that holds a special place in your heart. Describe the taste, the aroma, the texture, and any other emotions associated with it. Now, if we had time, we would work on the prompt, but we don't have time. But I wanted to give you a taste of what tasting the past might be like.
Mhm.
So the course summary, I'm just going to go through the outline for the curriculum. It explores, this course, Tasting the Past, explores the intersection of food, memory, and storytelling through guided autobiographical writing. Participants will reflect on their culinary experiences, share personal food stories, and discover the significance of food memories in shaping identities and relationships. It's a 5-week course and it's open to all GAB members. And I envisage some people taking it because they'd like to teach it. And you're welcome to all the materials once it's been delivered. Some people taking it because they'd like to implement it or use it in their GAB practice. How can you use it in your GAB practice? I'm going to really say very quickly, food, cuisine, writing. It's a wonderful area for building writing. It's what I call muscle, building craft and building muscle. Because food is about smell, touch, taste, sound. And when we land people in that memory, writing becomes really easy or not as challenging. Let's put it that way. Writing becomes less challenging when people are navigating those senses. So therefore you can use bits of tasting the past once you've done it in your own practice. You can use it for warm-ups. You can use it as a block, as a session, and you also can use it to encourage reluctant writers. So there are 5 sessions. 2 hours each. And it is designed, as I said, for GAB instructors, people who want to deliver it, or people who want to add it to what they do. What are the overreaching or overarching goals? It will empower GAB instructors to use food storytelling as a tool for life review, legacy building, challenging ageist narratives, and discovering hitherto unrecognized insights. I have delivered the course. It's been through an iteration. I use bits of it frequently in my teaching, and I have discovered, recognized that it really eases people into writing. So the session objectives are as follows. Session 1, Tasting the Past. You're going to be invited to work with just that prompt I gave you at the beginning. Remember childhood food memories through sensory prompts. You can analyze how food connects to cultural identity. And I give a number of examples, or I share with you a number of examples of food writing. I need to explain every single session will consist of writing prompts and what I call story circles. This is something developed in the world of digital storytelling, where we give you a prompt, we ask you to respond, write in the session, you have 10 minutes to write, we offer you another prompt in case that one's not working, but we devote at least 15 to 20 minutes to just writing in the moment. And then we share what we've written in the story circle, very much like the GAB practice of sharing or writing. And again, we give the structured feedback. And of course, you know, there's a magic when you give feedback appropriately. with appropriate guidelines. Tasting the Past uses that. And the prompt I need to highlight, when we offer writing prompts, I offer a digital story. And a digital story is like less than 5 minutes long. It's visual, it's auditory, and I found it really opens people up to responding to the prompt. So I offer a digital story that's about food. It lands, we don't have a discussion, we simply listen in, look in, and then I offer the prompt. And then people write into the prompt, and then they go into the story circle, we do the reflection, and then you can take it away. The writing pieces are no longer than 350 words. So 300 to 350 words, and that gives us an opportunity to work with craft. And I'm going to explain that a bit. Session 2, we do, and if you join, we'll apply the GAB branching points activity to adult food encounters. So you will look and you do a branching points activity in which you will highlight or spotlight significant food encounters, shall we call them, and the impact that they had on you, times when you changed. And people got really enthusiastic. They plotted the whole thing out because they could remember at different stages of their lives, they had a different relationship with different foods. New things came into their lives through marriage, through family, through relationships, through moving, through being in new places. They encountered new foods and they had different reactions and response. And so we invite you to do that. We kind of explain in the class, you take away, you do it at home. And then when you come back the next week, you write in to one of those encounters. And it's amazing because you start here like a cone, writing into the encounter, and you drill all the way down to insight. And there's a particular model that we'll use to help you develop that craft, which is about content, connect. How do you connect in that piece of writing? How much context do you need to give so that we understand what you're on about? What's the insight? What's the thing, the change, the aha moment in there? And then we draw out, how do you want to end it? And it doesn't have to end up all neatly tied with a bow. Sometimes it ends very open. We're still exploring. So we do that. We do that one with the we use the branching points activity. And then we go into 4, and 4 is the session that I literally just described, where we do a bit of crafting my food story. And that's where we learn a bit of technique. And so what tends to happen is people who might come in a bit reticent about writing, people who come in a bit nervous about writing, because of the material they're working with. You're working with food, and these are sensorial prompts, and it's not me, the specialists in the area say it. It really helps to fuel, propel, draw out the writing. And so once we've had about 3 weeks of drawing out writing, you've done a couple pieces, the 4th session, we focus more on crafting. And that's where we look at the 4 C's. And the 4 C's, I just gave them: context, connect, context, change, and closure. And then you get to look at what you have. By now, you should have maybe about 4 little stories, 350 to 400 words, and you get to choose one that you're going to bring to the 5th session, because on the 5th session, we have what we call a screening. And the screening is where you simply share your story. If we start off with the intention of making digital stories, and some people say, I want to make a digital story. Okay, we'll set that up so you can do it. Or you say, no, I don't want to do all that technology stuff. I just want to read mine. That's fine. Whatever form you want, and I've seen various forms emerge. I've seen scripts emerge. I've seen poems emerge. I've seen an outline for a recipe books. There's a legacy book emerge with the recipe on one side and the story on the other. And I'm sharing this with you today, or they're sharing with the group today, but I'm going to finish this because I've started it. And this is the way I want to do it. And so the fifth session is celebrating our food stories. A bit challenging, it's going to be in Zoom, because when we do it in person, people bring something. And as you know, there's nothing like breaking bread together. Content planning, I give you a quick idea of the content. I use a couple writers, Nikki Giovanni, Chasing Utopia. I use a writing prompt, describe a childhood dish, taste, aroma, emotions. I just shared that with you. And the assessment in that first unit is the participation in story circle. And that's when we read our stories to each other and we receive that feedback in that very structured way. And if anybody wants to read a lot about assessment, how that self-managed assessment works, there is a, how many words would that be? There's a 3,000 word paper out in the world right now. He certainly wrote about the whole notion of how well what GAB does, what Story Center does, that self-regulating feedback in which the instructor is not telling you stuff, but you're giving feedback to each other, how that works so well. And it's the best thing that we could do for creative writing. That was part of the, I submitted it as part of my, my portfolio on teaching creative writing. So that's what the sessions look like. At the end, we do we'll do a survey. We'll do a Brain Center survey that we could turn over and give to Brain. So we get some feedback from cohorts people who are GAB instructors. Okay, but there's quite a bit. When you join the course, you realize the content is digital stories and poems, quotations, passages from books. You go as far back as the Odyssey and you realize that there's food poetry. They were talking about food. They were writing about food. And this curriculum takes you way back there. Here is an example. And you sort of went back to the Odyssey and realized, my gosh, every time they had something significant to say, they spoke about food. The bard said something about food. And I think the whole idea is we underestimate the significance of food memories and the way in which food defines identity. It defines who we are. It defines where we're from. It carries emotional resonance, and it can also be a source of trauma. So there's something in the curriculum that is there to take care of, first, to be aware, be sensitive to, respond effectively to trauma, the emergence of trauma. What has happened at my 10 minutes? I know I nearly finished on the course.
Do you have any dates in mind when you might
I saw a date on my proposal, Cheryl, that I sent to you. I saw the date of the proposal and I looked at it and I said, oh, wow, that's interesting.
Life has changed.
It's something like October through to November. Here we go. I see a date here. October 7th to November 4th, I see here.
Okay. Does that still work for you, or we'll let you decide that?
I need to confirm it. Yeah. I need to confirm it.
Do you have a time of day, Janet?
Again, I'll have to work that out with Cheryl because I'm in Bermuda, so think of me as being on Nova Scotia time.
Okay. Okay. Great. Thank you so much,
So
Janet.
we'll have to work out something that will work.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
For the greatest number of people. But I'm thinking when I was thinking of it for GAB folks, it's something that you can use to spice your teaching.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in order to spice your teaching, you need to taste the spice.
I love it. I love it. Awesome. So before we open it up for people to have general chat, Sarah, can you give a brief introduction to the poll? I'm kind of
okay. Will you be showing the covers on screen or should I?
I will right now.
You're
Yeah,
set. Okay.
I had an issue. I can create a poll.
There we go.
I have
Perfect.
created a poll. I just couldn't include images in the official Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are this far along in the Second Chances anthology. The layout is being proofread right now, and we're have these different cover design options. Basically, what you see in option 2, the sandy footprints, that's one. And the 3 different versions of the kintsugi bowl are just variations in color scheme, but using the metaphor of kintsugi, the stronger at the broken places or made more beautiful by the breaking, which is a second chance metaphor. So I'm soliciting opinions and open to yours, and that's what the poll's all about.
Okay,
so everybody just take a moment and Heather, if you'd keep scrolling so that we see the sandy option as well. Yeah.
I'm also just trying to figure out how to make the poll go. Yeah, you might need to put it in your head, and then I'll close this and then open up the poll.
Okay.
Everybody ready? Okay. Let me stop sharing that and let me put the poll up. Which cover? Okay. Is it showing for you?
Not yet.
Where did it go? It was here and then it went away.
I didn't see the poll. I just saw the pictures, Heather.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
Yeah. You
it
had it
says
up when we tested it.
Oh, here we go.
It says it was launched.
Look at in the more ... If you click on that, polls is an option. Click on that and the poll will come up.
Okay.
Oh, great.
It's not an option for me.
If
Reset
you
notes.
Oh, on more. Okay.
People are voting.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, look along the tool ribbon at the
Yeah,
bottom of your
yeah,
screen.
yeah,
Goes participants, chats, react, share, apps, record, meeting info, more, and the ... If you click on that, you'll see polls. And when you click on that, polls is added to your bottom menu there.
I got it. Thank you.
You got a mouse over the bottom to make that menu appear. So thank you for allowing me a few minutes of your meeting to solicit opinions here.
It might be a nice recap where the timing, when we think this is going to be ready,
yes,
publishing date, etc.
Yeah, and also Sarah, our idea of the December GAB Chat.
Yeah.
We're looking at it earlier in the month and doing a launch party versus a regular GAB Chat, just so purchase for Christmas if they want.
Right. The book will become available retail on November 15th. There will be a quiet period before that when co-authors can buy the book at cost, and only co-authors will have the link to do that. So if you want to get 5 or 10 or 50 for you, because some of us use them in our GAB classes, give them out to GAB students as an example of GAB writing. Next Wednesday, there's going to be a briefing for all the co-authors. If you're a co-author in the book, you've received an email from me about that, and I've heard that many of you are going to make it. The replay of that will be available to anyone who wants to help promote the book. But we have suggestions for what the co-authors can do locally and to have book launch events and get a little local publicity for being featured in a national anthology. So I think that's all the time we need to take for that. Thank you all for voting on the poll. Heather will let me know the results. And you'll find out when you see the book.
Oh, okay. We're going to even keep it. Ooh.
Yeah, I think we should keep it secret. I think we should keep it secret because I'm still soliciting opinions from different groups.
Okay. Sounds good. So now's the time where you can unmute yourself and share, talk, ask a question. I know there were some questions in the chat. Lori had a few questions. A basic question on availability for the next session of the Shaking the Family Tree. Anything decided yet?
Well, the beta testers,
Yes.
no, we don't know when after beta testing. It would be early in 2026 because we'll need a little time to absorb what we learned from the beta test and do the final polish on the course. So I would, at a guess, say February of 2026.
Okay.
It's definitely a work in progress, but you know, just finishing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And I believe
Okay.
we had Ingrid was interested in being on the beta team or on the wait list if we start a wait list.
Okay. Thank you. Ingrid, can you text me your contact info? Just use the chat one-on-one to send me your email.
Yep, I've already done that to you and Heidi. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Great. Anybody want to share anything or ask any questions?
So I just want to say one quick thing.
Yeah.
Barbara Smith also in the chat requested to be put on your list.
Yeah, I've got that.
Okay. Okay. I missed that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jane, unmute yourself. Let's hear from you.
Okay, I am unmuted. Thank you. I took GAB with Sherry and
Heidi?
no, not Heidi.
Okay.
With
But
me,
her daughter.
I mean,
Yes, you. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Sorry, Cheryl.
no, that's okay.
And during COVID, it was fabulous. And I had 3 terrific groups afterward that continued meeting, all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got overwhelmed. I have been missing this because this has been the richest work I've done. And I'm not a writer. I'm not, but I'm a facilitator and an educator. So just what the learning and the coach. So what came out of the growth was just remarkable to me. And I'm really anxious to do it again. And a lot of these people are asking me to do it. And I thought I wanted to know if anyone had taken it to a large group, because I'm thinking of bringing it to my temple. And and I'm picturing putting people in pods of 5 or so people at a table around this room. And I'm wondering if you've done it that way where you come together with everybody and then they break it into their small groups and they have some conversations and they share in one room. So can anybody share some classes that they might have offered that way? Because I always had a small group and I could put my hands around them.
Well, I have a thought about that because I've done it with Jim Byrne where we did presentations and we divided them up into small groups and had them do sharing. But I'm wondering if part of the GAB process is the commitment. And when you say large group, I'm thinking of a temple, you may have 1,000 people as members.
No.
How many are you thinking about, Jane?
Maybe 20.
Okay, 20 people is nothing. That's easy to handle. And if the room is large enough, I did a class at UCLA where we had a large room, we had 2 groups, and it still could get confusing because even in a large room, you could have one group sharing something where they're crying and another group sharing something where they're laughing, and it can be disconcerting. But if you have a large enough room and can work it out and get the commitment of the people to come, the only other thing you need to do is to think, are you going to then rotate between those groups? Are you going to have a small group leader that will then be the timekeeper and make sure there's no problems and meet with you? But yes, it's doable, but it takes a little bit of changing.
Yes, I don't want to impact the quality, but I could see groups would meet in, maybe it's a group of 4. So they would meet the same group for sessions.
Right.
And they would each probably have one of my former students moderate.
Oh, okay. Great.
So there's a facilitator for each group.
That's good.
Would participate. And I just need the push to launch it.
Well, I definitely think you can do it. I'm going to let somebody else talk, but I also think that what you said in the beginning, life gets in the way. Everybody gets excited, especially after you first finish the training and you do your first group. Because after you do your first group and you realize the richness of the material and the people and the experiences that you get, that doesn't leave you. But I know that you've had birth of grandchildren that got in your way of doing things, etc. But it doesn't, we're always here. It doesn't have to be a chronological straight line that you do. And if you stop GAB for a year, that you can never go back again. So I'm just happy that you're back, Jane.
Yeah, good luck with that, Jane. Stephen, did you want to add to what Jane was asking, or do you have a separate question?
No, separate question. I'm going to contact Jane through the chat because I have something of a model that you may want to look at, and I'm happy to discuss it with you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Does anybody else have anything to add to Jane before?
Yeah, somebody else help her out. Has anybody else done large groups?
Yeah, I have. And you
Sherry?
can do them, Jane. Just a couple of things to look out for is number one, just all the back end time when you're, like I did a group of 36. So you've got 36 people that you are communicating with. They're emailing you, they're making phone calls.
Yeah.
They're doing all that. So consider that for your time, because as we all know, when we've done these classes, it's more than just the 2 hours that you're face to face with people, and all the prep and doing that.
Good point.
Do everything in one room. I was able to split people up into small groups in different little rooms. One was just a tiny conference room, but we met together, in one large room for the first hour, and that worked out really well. But I would just consider the back end time because you get a lot of inquiries and it takes up a lot of time during your week. So
Thanks, Sherry. Anybody else for Jane? Yeah, Mickey.
I took it as a student in a large class. I was in one of Cheryl's at UCLA.
That was the class of Barry Bortnick.
Yeah. And it worked as a student after some time of getting used to it, but you always felt like you were missing out.
Yeah.
You got close to one teacher, but that teacher wasn't with your group when you were doing it. It was just kind of off. And then I also taught a large group, and they were feeling the same thing. They had gotten close to some of the people in the general group, and then they were put in separate reading groups. So there's just a little bit from that end of people missing out on something or wishing that they could hear all the stories. As a teacher, I felt like I was missing a connection with half of the group when they split up. And to Cheryl's point, doing it in one room is very tricky. Also, when you have that many people, you never know who's not able to show up, and you may have that established group with only 1 or 2 people in it. Those 4 people that didn't come to the class were all in that reading group. So I personally, from that point on, I limit my classes to 5, maybe 6 people, and I just stay with them throughout the whole duration.
Thanks, Mickey.
Yeah, thank you, Mickey, for that honesty.
Anybody else? Stephen, did you have something else to contribute that you wanted to share or ask?
No, if Janet wants to contact me, you've got my contact info.
Okay.
So
Thanks,
look on private chat. And you'll
Okay.
see me, and you can respond, and
Okay.
I can go into more detail.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, Janet, I also sent you one. Sally's interested
Okay.
in
Okay, folks.
And
Okay.
Vara, I've got yours noted down. So we're at the end of our session. I just want to remind people that next month is October 15th, and it's an afternoon one. And actually, that session, my husband Greg, he and I have a special presentation. We live in Mexico, and we put together a presentation about how the Pixar Disney movie Coco can inspire us as non-Mexicans to embrace family traditions and customs around Day of the Dead. So,
Wow.
Apropos for October, isn't it?
yes, it gives you 2 weeks time to prepare your own special.
That's
We'll
great.
have a
It's an
checklist and stuff about that.
That's great.
So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. It's always so nice to see everyone. And I look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, Greg
Thanks.
wants to say something.
I just wanted to make
Thank
a
you.
plug for the movie Coco, that it's a wonderful movie, very inspiring, very much about remembering family, not forgetting about family stories. My suggestion is that if you have an opportunity to see it before the next GAB Chat, when we do that, that would be ideal.
Great. I think I've seen it. It was an
Yes.
Academy
Thank you,
Award
Greg.
winner. I
That's
don't remember
perfect.
what year, but it was a big winner.
Okay.
You can stop the recording, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you.